with his brand when he does cash for access fundraising. And Mr. Speaker, that's exactly why I will be voting against this bill. Thank you.
The honourable member for Central Okanagan, Similkameen Nicola, will have 5 minutes of questions coming to him once we resume debate. Quality questions, I'm sure. Statement by members. Déclaration de député. The honourable member for Coast of Bays, Central Notre Dame.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to rise today and congratulate Chief Michel Joe of the Malpeque First Nation in Conne River, Newfoundland and Labrador on receiving the Order of Canada last week. Chief Joe has been active in First Nations politics since 1974. It is under the leadership of Chief Joe that the Malpeque Reserve has flourished and set a national example of Indigenous self-governance, including policing, education, and full employment for all band members. Chief Joe has worked tirelessly to promote and preserve the culture, language, and tradition of his people. He is recognized both nationally and internationally as a leader in spiritual and alternative healing. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you to Chief Michel Joe for his hard work, compassion, and leadership, which I greatly admire. Congratulations, Chief Joe, on your Order of Canada. Well deserved.
The honourable member for Calgary, Signal Hill.
Mr. Speaker, a fight between two NDP governments in BC and Alberta, supported by the NDP members of Parliament, is costing Western Canadians millions of dollars every day. Shame. The BC government, propped up by the Green Party, has thrown another barrier into the construction of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. Western Canadian oil sells for almost $30 less per barrel than world price, and that means one new school each day and one new hospital each week is being built in the United States and not in Canada. And so what is the Prime Minister doing about it? Nothing. He says the pipeline will be built. Remember, this is the same person who said budgets will balance themselves. The Prime Minister needs to take a leadership role, declare the pipeline in Canada's national interest, and if not, then Alberta should reduce oil shipments to the BC Lower Mainland. Without Alberta's oil, Mr. Speaker, it'll be a long, cold ride for the NDP and Liberal MPs getting to Ottawa on their bicycles.
The honourable member for Oakville.
Mr. Speaker, I begin by extending a warm welcome to Ottawa to William and Joanna Oliver. I rise today to recognize an amazing initiative in my riding of Oakville called the Tiny Homes Program. This collaboration between the Centre for Skills Development and Training and the Rotary Club of Oakville-Trafalgar is designed to provide valuable skills training while also addressing the unique challenges of accessible, safe, and affordable housing for Canada's Indigenous communities. The Rotary Club has been a long-time advocate for affordable housing in Oakville and has now established an innovative way to use the Centre's training program. Before this initiative, students would build mock houses that would be sent to landfill at the end of each course. This program is a win for the environment, a win for workers, and a win for Canada's Indigenous communities. Mr. Speaker, I am so honored to be a representative for Oakville, people whose creativity, compassion, and collaboration make me proud to be their Member of Parliament. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, forget about the Habs and the National Hockey League. During the week of February 9th to 10th and 11th February next, if you want to see high-caliber hockey, come to Drummondville. Drummondville will welcome the Hockey Winter Classic. It is a historical event where people will be able to see the stars of tomorrow. The Drummond Voltigeurs will face off against the Sherbrooke Phoenix, and Saturday, Victoriaville Tigers. And then Sunday at noon, the Midget Hockey League will be featured along with the Gaulois de Saint-Hyacinthe. I'd like to announce to my colleagues, the members for Sherbrooke and Richmond-Arthabasca, I'd like to tell them the Voltigeurs will win these two games. I would invite everyone to come. It's going to be quite something. The Honourable Member for La Prairie. Mr. Speaker, last Monday they launched festivities around the 100th anniversary of the municipality of Delson, where I have my riding office. The city of Delson The name of the city of Delson is a contraction of the name of a junction of two railways, the Delaware and Hudson Railway Junction. January 3, 1918, a part of the territory of Saint-Constant became, by proclamation of King George V, the municipality of the village of Delson. Mr. Speaker, this area is known for its industrial park and the pride of its citizens. I would like to invite the families of Delson and environs to come and take part in different activities. These will take place all over the municipality. It'll be a pleasant way to pay tribute to those who built the wonderful city of Delson. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Oxford English Dictionary defines a hero as a person who is admired for their courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. You might not expect to meet one as young as 10 years old, but Peyton Cernick is certainly a hero. For the past 4 years, Peyton has been battling stage 4 acute lymphoblastic leukemia and lymphoma, and battling it she is. It was in remission, but has now returned. Throughout this process, she has started the hashtag #CancerSucks, raised over $37,000 for the Children's Hospital Foundation of Saskatchewan, and also speaks at schools and organizations when she can. She was given the Young Philanthropist Award by the Association of Fundraising Professionals Regina Chapter, was selected as the Saskatchewan Ambassador for the Champions Program by Walmart Canada, and will be the champion child for the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital Foundation of Saskatchewan. Throughout this whole ordeal, Peyton is always smiling, and my goodness, what a smile this little girl has. Peyton, if you're watching this, you truly are my hero. We love you, sweetie.
The honourable member for Kitchener South Hespeler.
Mr. Speaker, Waterloo Region is one of the best places in the world to build a technology company. With over 1,000 technology companies, Waterloo Region's startup density is second only to Silicon Valley. I recently visited an innovative and award-winning company in my riding of Kitchener South Hespeler. One of Canada's top 100 employers, ClearPath Robotics is a global leader in self-driving technology, serving customers in over 40 countries. Established only 9 years ago, ClearPath was profitable within only 18 months and now has sold over 2,000 robots. ClearPath was founded by graduates of the University of Waterloo Megatronics Engineering Program and now employs nearly 200 full-time Canadians. We are proud of the entrepreneurship and innovation displayed by partners Matt Randell, Ryan Garapi, and Brian Webb and their team at ClearPath Robotics.
The honourable member for Edmonton Riverbend.
Freedom of religion and freedom of thought are two of the most fundamental rights Canadians enjoy. They are enshrined in black and white in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This government has completely overstepped their jurisdiction in forcing religious organizations to betray their beliefs to get funding through Canada's Summer Jobs program. This poorly constructed rule means that religious organizations whose charitable work has absolutely nothing to do with issues of conscience cannot obtain funding. Churches in my riding cannot afford to pay staff for their soup kitchens because this government refuses to honour freedom of religion and freedom of belief. This is wrong, and this attestation represents a massive overreach of power. I stand with the churches, mosques, synagogues, and hosts of other religious organizations in my riding and thank them for the great work they do in our community.
The honourable member for Ottawa West Nepean.
En février, nous célébrons le mois de l'histoire.
This February, we celebrate Black History Month, and we celebrate the rich contribution of African Canadians as an integral part of Canada. And this since the beginning of colonization.
Been an integral part of building our country. Ottawa West Nepean has been home to many leaders, changemakers, and heroes. These include Olympic gold medalist Glenroy Gilbert, CBC News anchor Adrian Harewood, Girl Guide leader Catherine Cazito, journalist Ewart Walters, and community leader Mohammed Sofa. I also applaud June Gervin, who leads Black History Ottawa, and Sarah Onyango, who hosts the radio program Black on Black, for all that they do to make visible the history and contributions of Black Canadians to our city and our country. During February, there will be activities throughout Ottawa to celebrate Black History Month. It is only by recognizing and sharing one another's stories that we can truly create an inclusive and equal society.
The honourable member for Thunder Bay Rainy River.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in the House today to recognize an exceptional sports team from my riding of Thunder Bay Rainy River for their outstanding season in 2017. I'd like to warmly congratulate Atikokan High School's senior boys volleyball team, the Voyageurs, for winning the Regional Nawasa Championship in November. The athletes and their coaching staff performed exceptionally well, placing 5th in the division at OFSA and showing the rest of the province the talent we have in Northwestern Ontario. I had the opportunity to visit the Grade 10 civics class at Atikokan last November, and I was impressed by the knowledge and eagerness of the students as well as their school spirit. I happened to be there just after the team had won Nawasa and was preparing to head to Toronto to play the best teams in all of Ontario. They had the support of their entire community behind them. Once again, congratulations to the team. You made Northwestern Ontario proud. Thank you. Merci.
The honourable member for Labrador.
It's an honour for me to stand today and acknowledge the Northern Lights Conference taking place right here in Ottawa and all those across the North who make it happen. The Baffin Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Labrador North Chamber of Commerce are jointly hosting this unique event, which is a high-profile showcase of business and culture from Nunavut, Nunatsiavut, Labrador, and Nunavut. The 4-day event attracts over 200 exhibitions and 1,200 delegates. Over the past 20 years, this conference has become the landmark event for anyone interested in Canada's Arctic and subarctic regions. It is an opportunity to network with Northerners, industry, business, and government, and one of the most unique showcases of Inuit arts and crafts and culture. Northern Lights 2018 also hosted the 6th Annual Inspiration Prize Award Ceremony this week, and I want to acknowledge the founders and partners of Arctic Inspiration and congratulate those who took home the Arctic Inspiration Prize this year. I want to acknowledge Arnold Witzer and his wife, Sina, for their love and commitment to Canada's Arctic and for donating more than $60 million to the Arctic Inspiration Prize. As a proud Northerner, Mr. Speaker.
For Yellowhead.
Mr. Speaker, last night at a town hall meeting in Edmonton, the Prime Minister said his government is fighting some Canadian veterans in court because they are asking for more money than the federal government can afford. Mr. Speaker, our veterans put their lives on the line to give Canadians the freedom we enjoy, whether it was World War I, II, or any other conflicts our troops are sent into. If any of our veterans are injured, resulting in a disability, we must ensure they continue to have a quality of life they so richly deserve. If this Liberal government can spend $10 million to Qatar and install a rink on Parliament Hill for $5.5 million, then why are they treating our veterans so poorly? Remember, Mr. Speaker, they fought for us. We owe them.
The honourable member for Fredericton.
On January 18th, 1958, Fredericton's own Willie O'Ree stepped onto the ice for the Boston Bruins in a regular season game to become the first black player to play in the National Hockey League. Despite the overt racism, taunts, and jeers that he would face from fans throughout his professional career, Willie would say, and I quote, "Things like that, it didn't bother me. I just wanted to be a hockey player, and if they couldn't accept that fact, that was their problem, not mine." As we celebrate Black History Month and the 60th anniversary of his breaking of the black color barrier in professional hockey, we thank Willie for his continued service to the game and to our communities as a longtime ambassador for NHL diversity. A member of the New Brunswick Hall of Fame, the Order of Canada, there remains but one honour to be bestowed upon this person who left such an indelible mark on the sport. Mr. Speaker, for his dedication as a builder, I'm sure Frederictonians, New Brunswickers, Canadians, and hockey fans around the world would share the view that it is past due time that Willie O'Ree be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yes, that's right. The honourable member for Saskatoon West.
Mr. Speaker, in Saskatoon, I hosted a town hall on housing as a human right and heard many concerns from community members who attended. We heard about a young Indigenous man whose home was a garage and a space heater, about women and children who couldn't find emergency shelter, and young people who became homeless because when they graduated from foster care. Our Prime Minister has said housing rights are human rights and everyone deserves a safe, affordable place to call home. One person on the street is one too many, and I agree. The National Housing Strategy only aims to reduce chronic homelessness by 50% over 10 years. I believe we can and must do better. What is clear is we need a national plan to end and prevent homelessness. My motion, M147, will allow us to gather successful strategies from all corners of this country to create that plan. I urge all my colleagues to support M147 so we can finally make homelessness history. Thank you.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
News reports this morning state that Iranian police have arrested 29 women who have protested the country's oppressive laws against women by removing their hijabs in public places and waving them aloft on long poles. I'm asking all of my colleagues here to stand with me to demand the release of these women and to demand that Iran reverse laws that oppress and degrade women. I also ask all of my colleagues to stand united in understanding that the equality of women has long been diminished by laws, religious or otherwise, and patriarchal social mores that attempt to blame the presentation of a woman's body for various societal ills. The right of a woman to choose how she clothes herself should be left to a woman alone, not to her family, her spouse, her faith community, or her government. If any of those actors try to remove that agency, we should support her through reclamation of her rights, not impose more restrictions upon her. Equality will only come when we stand united behind this principle, rather than behind laws or mores that oppose it, using a warped notion of equality itself for cover.
The honourable member for Canada Carleton.
Mr. Speaker, it's with great pleasure that I invite everyone to the winter carnivals taking place in Ottawa and the local area. Winterlude kicks off today, and next week there are two great carnivals in my riding of Canada Carleton. Fitzroy Harbour Winter Carnival runs from Thursday, February the 8th to Sunday the 11th, with activities like, a spaghetti supper, a snow pitch tournament, trivia night, and much more. With 4 days of fun, there's fun for the whole family. On Saturday, February 10th, I invite everyone to Canada for the Hazeldean Lions Winter Festival. Outdoor horse-drawn sleigh rides, a pancake breakfast, and lots of activities for the children. But none of these great events would take place without the tremendous volunteers who dedicate their precious time to making these carnivals happen. Thank you for everything you do and for making such a big difference in your communities. Mark your calendars, everyone. Come celebrate that we are midway through winter, and next weekend, both in Fitzroy Harbour and Canada. Hope to see you there.
Question orale, oral questions. L'honorable.
The honourable member for Richmond Arthabaska. Mr. Speaker, for 5 days now we've been asking the Prime Minister about his illegal vacations on Billionaire Island. We also know that after our leader asked the Ethics Commissioner to investigate, he was found guilty of four charges. 4 charges, Mr. Speaker, a first in Canadian history. We're trying to understand, I think all Canadians would like to understand why the Prime Minister won't pay back the $215,000 he took out of their pockets.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to help the member better understand. The previous commissioner, both in her report and testimony in committee, answered many questions related to her report. We accept her findings and respect her work. On this side, we respect the work of all officers of Parliament, unlike the opposition. When officers of Parliament make recommendations, we take them seriously, Mr. Speaker, and we work with them to ensure that there is follow-up, and we follow them.
The honourable member for Richmond Arthabaska. Mr. Speaker, here are some messages I've received from constituents this week. Anything goes with other people's money. He's laughing in our faces. He's guilty. He should pay back. Keep on him till he pays up. He is not above the law just because he's Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I've received hundreds and hundreds of messages like this since early in the week, and I'd be happy to provide you with all of them. The question is, why Isn't the Prime Minister paying Canadians back?
Mr. Speaker, I would encourage my colleague to read the Commission's report. As has been the case for past Prime Ministers, and in the case for this Prime Minister, whenever and wherever the Prime Minister travels, there are costs related to security. We always accept the advice of our security agencies as to how to best ensure the safety of the Prime Minister. As the Prime Minister has said going forward, he will engage with the Commissioner to discuss personal and family vacations.
The Honourable Member for Richmond, Arthabaska. Mr. Speaker, enough with the broken record. In life, when you make a mistake, you assume the consequences. If you commit a crime, you go to jail. If you steal, you make restitution. When Liberal ministers or staffers broke the rules, they had to pay back. So why is the Prime Minister acting above the law? He took an illegal trip. He was found guilty. He should pay back taxpayers.
Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, it's important to recognize that immediately after the Commissioner's report was tabled, the Prime Minister did take responsibility, accepted the findings, and committed to working with the Office of the Commissioner on all future personal and family vacations. On our side, we thank the Commissioner and we accept the findings, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Opposition House Leader.
By not paying back the illegal costs that stem from his illegal vacation, the Prime Minister is setting a new low in standards for all of us in this place. He's saying that if a lobbyist or someone who does business with the government offers you a free trip, take it. Jewelry, cars, even envelopes full of cash, no problem. Just take it, pay a small fine, and then when you're done, say sorry. This is just plain wrong, Mr. Speaker, and against what we all know is right. When will the Prime Minister do the moral thing, the right thing, and pay back these illegal expenses?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, as the Conservatives continue to want to focus on an issue that has been dealt with by the Commissioner, this government wants to continue to focus on what's priority for all Canadians. And a good example of that is Canada's middle class. From the very beginning of the reduction of the Canada middle class tax bracket, putting hundreds of millions of dollars into the pockets of Canadians in every region of this country, we realize that the policies and the focus of this government on motivating and getting the economy moving forward is creating tangible jobs, 400,000 plus.
The Honourable Opposition House Leader.
The Prime Minister took an illegal trip and he used taxpayers' dollars to do it. So by not paying them back, basically here's what he's saying. Go ahead. Everyone, accept those free tickets to Elton John concerts that maybe you were offered. I know we weren't. Fly you and your family across the country, stay at the nicest hotels, claim per diems, and charge all expenses to the taxpayer. And then when you're caught, you don't have to pay a cent back. You've got a free family vacation. Mr. Speaker, it would be so wrong for any one of us to do that. When will the Prime Minister pay back these illegal expenses and raise the standard in this?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, again, Mr. Speaker, allow me to remind my colleague across the way. The security agencies make the determinations on what is needed in order to protect this Prime Minister, as they have done for previous Prime Ministers, and we follow their recommendations. The former Commissioner has acknowledged that these costs are incurred as part of the role of being the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister will continue to work with the Commissioner to clear future family vacations, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Victoria.
Mr. Speaker, strangely enough, selling public infrastructure to private investors didn't seem to get mentioned before the last election by the Liberals. But last year's budget revealed the Liberals plan to take $15 billion from existing infrastructure promises to fund their new infrastructure bank. As Canadian families deal with record levels of household debt, private investors like BlackRock are setting the government's priorities and making Canadian families pay for new tolls and service fees. Just why do the Liberals think they have the mandate to create their infrastructure bank?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, the Canada Infrastructure Bank will invest in infrastructure that is in the public interest, providing an innovative new infrastructure financing tool and attracting private sector investment to build transformational projects that may not otherwise get built. This is an optional tool that our provincial, territorial, Indigenous and municipal partners can use to increase the long-term affordability and sustainability of infrastructure in their communities. The bank will not displace traditional infrastructure spending, and our government is continuing to invest historic amounts, $186 billion, Mr. Speaker, to create inclusive communities where everyone has access to opportunities that let them reach their full potential.
Right on.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Hyacinthe-Bagotte. Mr. Speaker, the Canada Infrastructure Bank is looking more and more like the public-private partnerships that the Harper government was forcing on infrastructure projects. The bank will charge additional tolls and user fees to line the pockets of Bay Street investors. This is Canadians' money. Can the Liberal government at least reassure the provinces and municipalities that projects won't have to go through the bank when stakeholders want public infrastructure, truly public infrastructure? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Mr. Speaker, the bank will impose nothing at all. The bank will invest in public interest infrastructure using novel means of financing that will attract investment from the private sector in order to implement innovative projects that otherwise would never see the light of day. It's optional. Our provincial and municipal and Indigenous partners will be able to use the bank to increase funding, to leverage further funding for certain projects. The Honourable Member for Saint-Hyacinthe-Bagotte. Mr. Speaker, the Federal Public Service Labour Relations Board has stated that the federal government did not live up to its obligations under the legislation. Because of the Liberals' Phoenix pay system fiasco, over 100,000 federal public servants have not yet received their well-deserved pay raises. It's totally unacceptable. Will the Liberals undertake to compensate those workers?
Mr. Speaker, when we formed government, we inherited a situation where the Harper Conservatives refused to negotiate with our public sector unions, resulting in a situation where no public servants had collective agreements. Our government negotiated in good faith, reaching agreements covering 91% of our public servants. We're facing challenges implementing those agreements because of the IBM Phoenix pay system, which was conceived by the Harper Conservatives. We regret this situation, and we will ensure that our great public servants are treated fairly.
I just want to remind the members that there are rules in place that when somebody's speaking, we should listen, or if we've got comments, make them to ourselves. And I'm sure the comments get made to ourselves, but it carries right across. So if you could maybe keep your voice down when you're making those comments to the person next to you, not to the person across the aisle. The Honourable Member for Victoria.
How long are they going to keep blaming Harper, Mr. Speaker? A couple of anniversaries to note. We're approaching the 2-year anniversary of when Phoenix first started to fail our public service, and we're already well past the 1-year anniversary of when this government promised to fix it. So we now learn the government's also violating its legal obligations by failing to meet implementation deadlines for new collective agreements. As PSAC President Robin Benson said, and I quote, "Phoenix might be the reason, but it is not an excuse." Isn't this government tired of letting down our public service?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
We have great respect for our public service. We have a world-class public service in Canada. And, Mr. Speaker, when the Harper Conservatives eliminated 700 payroll advisor jobs, that created the situation that actually gutted the legacy system before the new system was actually operable. In fact, Mr. Speaker, it is bad public practice to eliminate an existing system until the new system is working. Mr. Speaker, this was bad management, but it was all to create an illusory surplus on the eve of an election. We are investing now to fix the situation, and we will treat our public servants fairly.
The Honourable Member for Lévis-Lotbinière. Mr. Speaker, in the former Commissioner's report, we learned that the Prime Minister's trip Planning began for that trip in the summer of 2016. That refutes the argument that the Prime Minister made a mistake and simply lengthens the long list of broken promises of accountable government. Mr. Speaker, can the Prime Minister tell us whether he will finally act in good faith and pay back the money unscrupulously taken from Canadian taxpayers?
To the Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, as I've indicated earlier, the previous commissioner, both in her report and the testimony in committee, answered many questions related to her report. We accept her findings and respect her work. On this side, we respect the work of all officers of Parliament, unlike the opposition. When officers of Parliament make recommendations, we take them seriously and we work with them to ensure we follow them. On top of this, the Prime Minister is committed to working with the Office of the Commissioner to clear all future personal and family vacations, Mr. Speaker.
Now, member. Mr. Speaker, Canadians are not fooled, and it's an insult to their intelligence by the Prime Minister to take them for fools. The Prime Minister's illegal trip was planned with full knowledge of the facts, and the idea was to have taxpayers foot the bill. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister show a shred of integrity by reimbursing the money used for a good time at taxpayer expense?
Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I can assure my friend across the way that the Prime Minister takes all Canadians very seriously. That's one of the reasons why he's on a tour of town halls, whether it's in Winnipeg, Edmonton. I believe today he's on Vancouver Island. It's important that we recognize that the security agencies are the ones that make the determinations on what is needed to protect this Prime Minister, as they have done for previous Prime Ministers. And we follow their recommendations, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Sturgeon River, Parkland.
The Prime Minister has been asked to answer for breaking the law. He says he's taken responsibility. But what is responsibility without accountability? His illegal trips abused taxpayer funds. $215,000 for security, $32,000 for jets, and over $1,700 on booze and meals. The Prime Minister and his buddies took Canadian taxpayers for a ride, an illegal ride. Will the Prime Minister do the right thing and pay the money back?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, all I can do is repeat for my friend across the way. As I've indicated, that the previous commissioner, both in her report and testimony in committee, answered many different questions related to her report. We accept her findings and respect her work. As the opposition wants to focus on this particular issue, we will continue to focus on the important issues that Canadians have. In Winnipeg North alone, we get millions of dollars coming towards the Canada Child Benefit, literally lifting hundreds of children out of poverty, Mr. Speaker. These are important issues to Canadians. These are important issues to this government.
The Honourable Member for Peace River, Westlock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't always go on vacation, but when I do, I pay for it myself. Right. The Ethics Commissioner found that the Prime Minister broke the law when he chose to accept a gift worth hundreds of thousands of dollars from a man who has business dealings with the government. How can they defend this? Will the Prime Minister do the right thing, repay the $200,000 of taxpayer money?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, I appreciate the question. Obviously, I disagree with it. And let me provide an answer that I've provided earlier. As has been the case for past Prime Ministers and in the case for this Prime Minister, wherever the Prime Minister travels, there are costs related to security. We always accept the advice of our security agencies as to how to best ensure the safety of the Prime Minister. As the Prime Minister has said, going forward, he will engage the Commissioner to discuss both personal and family vacations, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Calgary, Rocky Ridge.
Mr. Speaker, after accepting illegal travel and breaching the Conflict of Interest Act, the Prime Minister has a fiduciary duty to taxpayers to make them whole again. Yet all week, The Prime Minister and his House Leader have recited sophomoric talking points about accepting the Commissioner's recommendations. Well, the report didn't contain recommendations, only conclusions that the Prime Minister broke the law in 4 places. When will this Prime Minister actually take responsibility and repay Canadians?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, it's important to note that immediately after the Commissioner's report was actually tabled, the Prime Minister did take responsibility. He accepted the findings and committed to working with the Office of the Commissioner on future personal and family vacations. Again, as the Conservatives want to be able to focus on that particular issue, this government will continue to persist to be focused on what's important to Canadians. Get a better sense by listening to some of the things that are being talked about at the Town Hall. Canada's middle class is important, and this is something in which the government will continue to...
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent. Mr. Speaker, a year and a half ago, the Minister of Indigenous Services reimbursed Canadians $3,700 for limo rides. And what's interesting is that the Ethics Commissioner had cleared her. Why did she reimburse the money anyway? Because, and I quote the Minister here, this does not live up to the standard Canadians expect. Mr. Speaker, why doesn't the Prime Minister do like the Minister of Indigenous Services and pay Canadians back?
Mr. Speaker, it's important to recognize that there is a cost to security, and the security agencies make the determinations on what is needed to protect the Prime Minister, as they have done for all Prime Ministers prior to this Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, and we follow their recommendations. The role and the former Commissioner has acknowledged that these costs are incurred as part of him being the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister will continue to work with the Commissioner to clear all future family vacations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Laurier Ste. Marie.
Minister was appointed to oversee foreign affairs. I have sent her many letters on Israel and Palestine, and I have yet to receive a reply. Really? Not a single reply yet. Does the government have the position on labeling of products from illegal settlements? No reply. Will the government defend the rights of imprisoned Palestinian children, including Hahed Tamimi? No reply. Has the government raised concerns about threats to Palestinian villages like Susiya? No reply. Why won't the minister answer our...
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, the member opposite knows that Canada is a steadfast ally and friend of Israel and a friend of the Palestinian people. That's a long-standing policy of the government of Canada. If the member opposite is looking for a reply to correspondence she sent to the ministry, I'm happy to speak with her on a whole range of issues. She knows she can come find me anytime at the conclusion of question period today. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Laurier Ste. Marie. Mr. Speaker, I would like the Minister to answer my letters. That would be a sign of respect for this institution. The Minister's silence is unacceptable. Thousands of Canadians want the Minister to raise the question of human rights in relations between Israel and Palestine. Canada has declined to condemn the American decision on Jerusalem and has done nothing about settlements. Does the Minister know that Canadians want their government to defend justice and human rights? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Mr. Speaker, the promotion and protection of human rights is an integral part of our foreign policy all around the world in all our relations. The long-standing position of Canada has been that the status of Jerusalem can only be settled in the context of negotiations between both parties, and that should directly answer my colleague opposite's question. That has been a long-standing position of the Government of Canada, and we are, of course, always open to answer my colleague's questions.
Mr. Speaker, in the last election, the Prime Minister promised he would never force veterans into court. He also promised a return to lifetime pensions for all our injured veterans. Once elected, Mr. Speaker, he broke that promise, forcing Equitas veterans back to court. He broke his promise on lifetime pensions. And yesterday in Edmonton, he blamed veterans for asking for too much money, Mr. Speaker. When will the Prime Minister admit that he lied to veterans to win their vote in the last election, or will he admit that he didn't cost, understand, or care about the promises he was making to veteran families?
The Honourable Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, Monsieur le Président, nous apprécions
Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the contribution of veterans to protecting Canadians' security. Our government immediately took steps to deal with the issues raised, including increasing benefits for various things. And veterans asked for a pension option, and we delivered the goods on that. And this has considerably improved the benefit system. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, now we know why veterans call the new minister the bad news reader, Mr. Speaker. In the last election, the Prime Minister made promises. Promises to win the election that he clearly either didn't cost or understand. He said he wouldn't take veterans back to court. He did. He said lifetime pensions for all, and then said no. Mr. Speaker, there's a question here. Did the Prime Minister of Canada knowingly lie to veterans and Canadians, or did he not care that he was making promises he couldn't keep?
The Honourable Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, that there are a few things that I've learned in my short time as minister. One of them is the incredible amnesia that seems to exist from the other side of the House. You would think that some foreign body or some alien species had been in government for 10 years. And under their 10 years on their watch, when veterans came home, what did they come home to? Broken promises, closed offices, and ignored voices. We have delivered, finally, on a pension for life. And we will continue to do the right thing by our veterans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Barrie Innisfil.
Last night in Edmonton, the Prime Minister said, "Why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they're asking for more than we can give right now." Actually, veterans are only asking for what this Prime Minister promised them. A Prime Minister who has no problem running up huge deficits to the tune of billions of dollars year after year. Why did the Prime Minister mislead veterans? The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have delivered on a pension for life. It is monthly. It is tax-free. I have spent the better part of 3-4 months crisscrossing this country and finally listening to veterans. And you know what they say? One thing that they have resented over the past 10 years.
Order. I just want to remind the members this is a question and answer period. It's not a discussion period when everybody jumps in at the same time. So I would like to hear what the minister has to reply. I'll just leave it at that and let the minister continue.
In this place, I know words are used, but words are not enough. And on this side, finally, we have taken action for our veterans. And while I have heard others say such things as shell game when it comes to money, I'll tell you something. $10 billion of new money for our veterans is no shell game. That is real.
The Honourable Member for Barrie Innisfil.
You know what's not enough, Mr. Speaker? The act is not enough to our veterans. Last night in Edmonton, the Prime Minister said, why are we still fighting certain veterans groups in court? Because they're asking for more than we're able to give right now. Actually, Prime Minister, veterans are asking for what you promised them. He has no problem with billions in deficits, billions to the United Nations, billions more for his pet projects, and handing $10 million to Omar Khadr. Is it really, Mr. Prime Minister, that veterans are asking for more than he can give, or is it more than you care to give veterans?
I just want to remind the honourable members to place their question through the chair and not directly to someone else in the chamber. The Honourable Minister for Veterans Affairs.
I wish I could look at the other side and only accuse them of inaction, but I couldn't do that. Not when they cut budgets for veterans, not when they closed offices time and time again, and not when they ignored the voices of our veterans. We, as a government, in 2.5 years have put forward $10 billion in new money. We have offered and given a pension for life, tax-free to our veterans. We are keeping the promise that all sides in this House gave in 2006 under our new Veterans Charter. But we are not sitting our hands. We are taking action, finally.
Honourable Member for Salaberry-sur-Roi. Mr. Speaker, in 2016, between 3 and 5% of seafood products imported into Canada were inspected by the Canada Food Inspection Agency. Given that millions of fish were contaminated by a toxic spill in Vietnam in 2016, in April, did the Minister of Health ask the CFIA to pay particular attention to inspecting seafood from Vietnam since this disaster? What tests have been carried out, and what proportion of the fish stocks from these countries have been tested?
Ministre de Santé.
Honourable Minister of Health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my colleague for a question. All of the food that's imported into Canada must meet Canadian standards. The Canada Food Inspection Agency has a robust monitoring and inspection program for fish and seafood. When the CFIA determines that a product may present a risk to the health of Canadians, it takes immediate steps to protect consumers. The agency is intensifying its monitoring of products and is working on imports from countries including Vietnam.
Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Well, Mr. Speaker, a recent report revealed that a profitable Canadian mining company operates in Mongolia but uses a tax haven in Luxembourg. This company avoided paying Canadian taxes of $690 million and deprived Mongolia of $230 million. They only paid Luxembourg $89 million, where they have one part-time employee. But wait for it, it's completely legal because this company got written approval from the CRA to avoid paying Canadian taxes. So, Mr. Speaker, how can this minister defend this sweetheart deal to the Canadians who are paying their fair share?
Honourable Minister of National Revenue. Mr. Speaker, our government is committed to fighting tax avoidance and evasion abroad in order to ensure a fair tax system for all Canadians. This is a worldwide issue, and that's why Canada is working very closely with its international partners in the OECD to improve the sharing of information. Following investments in the last two budgets, the agency is now able to look at the risks linked to these large multinationals every year. And as my colleague knows well, I cannot comment on any particular case.
The Honourable Member for Don Valley West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With world-class institutions like Holland Bloorview Kids Rehab Hospital, Sunnybrook Hospital, and Glendon College in my riding, I often engage with scientists and other researchers working on exciting breakthroughs that will improve the lives of Canadians. I'm pleased to hear that from them that Canada is now being viewed as a leader in science and learning around the world, and many of their international counterparts want to work in Canada. Can the Minister of Science tell this House what our government is doing to recruit top international talent?
The Honourable Minister of Science.
I want to thank the member from Don Valley West for his strong support of research. Canadians can be proud that the world is looking to Canada as a leader in science. We're an open, diverse, inclusive country that is committed to supporting science, and the world has noticed. Thousands of top researchers from around the world want to come to Canada, and we're investing $117 million to quickly recruit them to universities across the country. We've already welcomed the first round of researchers, and we look forward to the exciting discoveries they will make to help improve the lives of Canadians.
The Honourable Member for Lakeland.
Mr. Speaker, in November 2016, when the Prime Minister approved Trans Mountain, he said it's safe, it's in the national interest, and it will create 15,000 jobs. That's true. It's been 4 years since the application started. Now, $800 million and 175 conditions later, the BC NDP is trying to kill it. Yesterday, the PM said he doesn't want to opine on provincial disagreements, but it's about the whole country, and he should lead. When will the Natural Resources Minister walk all that talk and show exactly what the Liberals will do to ensure this vital infrastructure gets built?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the honourable member for her question and say I'm glad she has her voice back, because what she has to say is always worth hearing. The member knows that the Prime Minister said unequivocally yesterday in Edmonton, as he has said since the approval was made, that this pipeline will be built because it's in the national interest. And the national interest means that we safely and securely get our resources to market. The national interest means that we put a premium on world-class protection for our oceans. The national interest means that we...
The honourable member for Lakeland.
But in November, already a year after approval, Kinder Morgan warned about delays and hurdles. The PM himself said, as the minister said, Trans Mountain is in best interest of Canada and Canadians, and it will strengthen our communities and put food on the table. It will create thousands of jobs, add billions to the economy, but it's all at risk. Yesterday, the PM just declared this pipeline is going to get built. So the question is obvious. How? Exactly what action will the Liberals take? What are they going to do beyond talking to make sure that Trans Mountain isn't yet another multi-billion-dollar opportunity lost under their watch?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the pipeline has been approved. The pipeline has been approved by the Government of Canada in the national interest, and it will be built. When there are motions in front of the National Energy Board that require interventions from the Government of Canada, the Government of Canada will intervene as it has done. What could be clearer than the Prime Minister of Canada saying to the entire country that this project is in the national interest because it satisfies the pillars of economic development in the energy sector: jobs, environmental stewardship, and protection of our sacred relationships with Indigenous people.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Confederation.
Mr. Speaker, the BC Premier shamefully gave his Environment Minister a mandate letter that ordered him to employ every tool available to prevent the Kinder Morgan pipeline from being built. It shouldn't come as a surprise to the Prime Minister that this is happening. The Liberals have failed on Energy East, and now they're doing the same on Kinder Morgan. So what exactly is the Prime Minister going to do to get the Kinder Morgan built?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of the Environment.
This government has approved the Trans Mountain expansion. This government has approved the Energy Enbridge Line 3 replacement. This project and also the support for Keystone XL will give us the pipeline capacity we need. The 10 years of the Conservative government didn't have 1 kilometre of pipe delivered to Tidewater.
The Honourable Member for Central Okanagan's Milkameen Nicola.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Prime Minister only offered Canadians vague platitudes in the face of escalating unconstitutional threats seeking to block a federally approved pipeline. What the Prime Minister has failed to tell anyone by which mechanism his government will invoke to overturn the recent BC government's efforts to block the project. Now, this is a serious topic. It requires serious answers. We're talking about respecting the rule of law and our Constitution. What is the Prime Minister going to do to rectify this situation between British Columbia and Alberta?
Here, here. The Honourable Minister of the Environment.
Mr. Speaker, we understand that the premiers of Alberta and British Columbia will have reasons to make statements about energy projects. There is only one government in Canada that has the responsibility of approving major infrastructure that goes across provincial lines. That's the Government of Canada. The Government of Canada has approved the pipeline, and we will ensure that the process is as expeditious as possible. I don't understand all the fuss on the other side. We want the pipeline to be built.
L'honorable député d'Abitibi.
The Honourable Member for Abitibi, Bay James Nunavut, AU. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, Canada's Human Rights Tribunal issued a 4th compliance order concerning discrimination against Indigenous children. 2 years $1 million in legal fees, 4 compliance orders, and 1 opposition motion in the House. Will the government finally show the real spirit of reconciliation and restore the balance that's required to end this discrimination once and for all?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Indigenous Services.
Mr. Speaker, our government is committed to reforming the current broken system that takes far too many Indigenous children in this country away from their families. We will immediately begin to cover the actual costs of all 105 First Nation Child and Family Service agencies in prevention in other areas, including retroactively to January 2016. As the CHRT ruling noted, our government is fully committed to implement all the orders in this ruling to truly develop child-centered, Indigenous-led, and prevention-focused solutions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, the project to build a high-frequency via rail train in the Quebec-Windsor corridor would improve transport service options for Canadians in many regions. This project would help the Greater Drummond area with its social and economic development. Local and regional actors are working hard to make this project a reality. The time is over for reflection. It's time for the government to take action. When will the Liberal government announce that it will support and fund this high-frequency via rail train?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Transport.
I'd like to thank my colleague for the question. Our government is developing the best approach to develop a rail transport system that is effective and reliable for passengers in Canada. This is why in Budget 2016, we dedicated $45 million to various projects for Via Rail, including $3.3 million over 3 years to carry out a detailed evaluation of this proposal for the high-frequency train.
Warner.
Mr. Speaker, Communist China's proposed takeover of HoC has raised serious concerns from security experts, the construction industry, and everyday Canadians. HoC is a major player in Canada's critical infrastructure, including telecommunications networks, nuclear power plants, and the energy sector. This is a bad deal for Canada and a threat to national security. If a company banned from international contracts due to corruption and fraud, based in a country known for cyber attacks and espionage on Canada, if they don't qualify or aren't subject to a national security review, Mr. Speaker, then who would be?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question. Global companies want to invest in Canada, Mr. Speaker, because of our skilled workforce and our strong innovation economy. Our government is open to investment. We're trying to encourage investment, but we also have the Investment Canada Act, Mr. Speaker, that puts into place a significant review process such that such investments are an overall economic benefit to Canada. A multi-step security review process is part of that, upon which we rely on our experts. Mr. Speaker, we will never compromise national security, and each proposed investment is examined on a case-by-case basis.
The Honourable Member for Calgary-Shepherd.
Mr. Speaker, Canadian company Aecon has been doing maintenance on Bell Canada's network since the 1950s. Today, Aecon is working on Bell's wireless fibre optic migration to expand its wireless cell phone service in Canada. They're also building Bell's headquarters in Mississauga. Now, the People's Republic of China is now seeking to buy Aecon through a state-owned enterprise. The Liberals don't seem to be concerned about the possible security risk this transaction will have for Canadians. So can the Minister of Industry confirm that a national security review will be done on Aecon's purchase, yes or no?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, the Act itself provides for a multi-step review process for security issues, and we rely upon our experts in the national security structures that we have in order to provide us with guidance. We trust their judgment, Mr. Speaker. We will follow that multi-step review process in this case. As in all other cases, we will never compromise our national security, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Calgary-Shepherd.
Mr. Speaker, Canadian company HoC is also helping to build and has built a great deal of the Calgary South Health campus in my riding. Now, the People's Republic of China, again, is now seeking to buy HoC through a state-owned enterprise, leaving many Canadians in fear over what knowledge this foreign government will have of our hospital. Now, we know that the past approval of MDA means that Liberals really don't care about national security concerns of Canadians. Will the Minister of Industry put Canadian national security ahead of any economic considerations?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, once again, I reiterate to the honourable member that we never have and we never will compromise our national security. The fact of the matter is that we have a multi-step process in place under the Investment Canada Act. We rely on the expertise of our national security experts. It's interesting to note, Mr. Speaker, that the opposition doesn't seem to want to rely on the opinions of our own national security experts. We will, Mr. Speaker, and we will get to a good result.
The Honourable Member for West Nova.
Mr. Speaker, last June the government signed a historic agreement with the provinces and territories on early learning and childcare. This agreement showed that for the first time ever, multiple levels of government were committed to increasing the quality, affordability, flexibility, and inclusivity of early learning and childcare. The
Minister, or rather can the Minister of Families, Children and Social Development update this House on the status of the implementation of this agreement? Honourable Minister of Families.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Congratulate and thank our colleagues for Nova West for his hard work on behalf of our families and children. On January 10th, I had the pleasure, I was pleased to announce the signing of an agreement on early learning and childcare with the Nova Scotian government that will transfer $35 million over the next 3 years to families and children. This is a long-term 10-year plan to support and increase the affordability, quality and accessibility of early learning and childcare across our great country. For the next 10 years, Mr. Speaker, more families will have access to those services for children in the long term and the short term. Thank you.
Honourable Député. Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals claim to be the party of supply management, but they're undermining the very system they claim to defend. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, minus the U.S., has half as many potential customers for Canada, but the Liberals are offering the same market access to Canadian milk, eggs and poultry to 10 other countries. Processors and producers are concerned, and 10 days after the announcement of the agreement, there's still no plan to offset the negative impacts. Did the Prime Minister abandon our farmers to save face? And when will the government announce their plan? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, this trade agreement will create new opportunities for producers across the country. We're aware of the importance of supply management, and we are committed to consult about the impacts that this will have on the industry and about the best way to go forward. We immediately undertook discussions that I participated in with the supply management sector, and we will continue to do so.
The Honourable Member for Long Range Mountains.
Mr. Speaker, construction workers in my riding and across Canada have told me about the significant impact that late payments can have on them and their families. Small businesses depend on timely payment so that they can put food on the table.
This has been an issue for far too long. Can the Minister please update this House as to what action our government is taking to ensure that contractors and especially subcontractors in the construction industry are paid in a timely manner?
Hear, hear. Well, Minister for Public Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank the member for Long Range Mountains for her tireless work in advancing this file. Our government recognizes the good middle-class jobs contractors and subcontractors provide Canadians from coast to coast to coast. This is why we're proud to announce our intention to introduce federal prompt payment legislation. With the help of experts Sharon Vogel and Bruce Reynolds, we'll be seeking input from the construction industry to develop a robust federal regime. This is another important action our government is taking to help the middle class and those working hard to join.
Bravo. The Honourable Member for Banff Airdrie.
Mr. Speaker, the Trade Minister recently stated that when you have more than 70% of your exports to one country, I think people realize that it's in Canada's best interest to look west and to look east. Well, that would be great advice when it comes to pipelines. However, thanks to those Liberals, Energy East is dead and Kinder Morgan is in serious jeopardy. It's not enough to simply say the pipeline will get built. The Prime Minister needs to back up his words with action. Talk isn't enough. When will this government actually take action to ensure the pipeline gets built?
Honourable Minister of the Environment.
Mr. Speaker, the action we took was to consult with virtually tens of thousands of Canadians about the Kinder Morgan pipeline, including many Indigenous communities up and down the line. And the conclusion, after many months of consultation with tens of thousands of Canadians, was that this pipeline is in the national interest. We have also approved the Enbridge Line 3 replacement. We are also supportive of the Keystone XL pipeline, all three of which will significantly help the Canadian government and really all Canadians to begin to export our oil and gas beyond.
The Honourable Member for Joliette. Mr. Speaker, when he visited Saint-Félicien last October for the by-election in Lac-Saint-Jean, the Prime Minister promised that he would not be making any concession concerning supply management in the new Trans-Pacific Partnership. Not one. But we learned this morning that this was smoke and mirrors. The government made the same concessions for chicken and eggs as it did for the old TPP, and it gave up 3.25% of the dairy market. Why did the Minister of Trade disobey the Prime Minister's mandate, which ordered him not to make any concessions on supply management? Because nothing means zero. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, this is an agreement that will create opportunities for farmers across Canada. We immediately undertook discussions with the supply management sector. I participated in them, and we will continue to consult. We will continue to vigorously support all of our farmers, including the supply management system. Our government is committed to helping grow our agricultural exports to $75 million by 2025 so that our farmers can make more money, and we will also be supporting the dairy, egg, and chicken industry. The Honourable Member for Joliette. My question is for the Minister of Trade, so I don't want to hear the same talking points that don't mean anything from the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Agriculture. During the by-election, the Prime Minister promised farmers that he would not make any concessions on supply management in the new TPP. After the election, wow, our farmers are getting the short end of the stick again. It's like in the song by Félix Leclerc, on election night, he called you his son, but the next day he'd forgotten your name. Why is it always our Quebec farmers who are used as pawns in these trade agreements? Why? The Honourable Minister. One thing that we do on this side is remember the name of the colleague across the way. When a member rises in this House to answer a question from the other side, we do it seriously and we do it with great reason. What I can say, Mr. Speaker, is that we met with members of the agricultural sector one day after announcing that we would be signing the TPP. This is an agreement that is good for the agricultural sector. It's an agreement that will allow Canadian industry to have access to a huge market of 500 million people. It's a huge section of the world economy, and we will continue to work with farmers in Quebec and in Canada to ensure that we can work together to improve the sector. The Honourable Member for Joliette. Well, that's different than what the Prime Minister announced in Saint-Félicien. Now, what is legalizing cannabis really about? It's not about health or fighting organized crime. It's a new market for the Liberals. The government is giving production licenses to their Liberal friends. There's a huge amount of money in the game. Producers have seen their shares triple in value in just 3 months. That's some serious profit. There's over $165 million that comes from shadowy funds and tax havens. There's no way of knowing who's investing in them. So it's time to get serious. Will the government delay the coming into force of the bill so that we can sort this out? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Gentleman asked what's the purpose of the legislation. The purpose of the legislation is two things. First of all, to better keep cannabis out of the hands of our kids, and number two, to stop the flow of illegal cash to organized crime. And that includes the present selling system, Mr. Speaker, which has failed Canadians for 90 years. Our new law offers a better prospect of success.
The Honourable Member for Nunavut.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Crown and Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs. Kivatlakal was a boarding school in my hometown of Rankin Inlet. Nunavut's Court of Justice has recently ruled that Kivalakal met the requirements to be considered a residential school. The federal government is now appealing this court decision. Mr. Speaker, I'm confused, and so are those affected, because the minister has recently stated, and I quote, "The best way to address outstanding issues and achieve reconciliation is through negotiation and dialogue rather than litigation." Why is the federal government taking this back to court? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my colleague for his question. The abuse of children is tragic and it is unacceptable. The Indian Residential Schools Settlement Agreement was negotiated by many parties with the goal of bringing fair and lasting resolution to the legacy of Indian residential schools. We recognize that there are cases that fall outside the Indian Residential School Settlement Agreement, and although Canada has appealed this decision into court, we remain committed to pursuing reconciliation and healing, and as this matter is currently before the courts, Canada will not comment further at this time.
Et c'est tout pour aujourd'hui. That's all for today. L'honorable député de Louis Saint-Laurent.
The honourable member for Louis Saint-Laurent on a point of order. Mr. Speaker, concerning veterans during question period, I would like to ask consent of the House to table the following document. Let's changing together page 55 of this Liberal document where it says we will restore these pensions. I'm sorry? I think that's a point of debate. Is there unanimous consent? There is not.
Another point of order? Do we have a point of order? Oh, no, okay. I'm sorry? We can, okay, well. Routine proceedings. Order. Order. No, I believe we said no. I just want to make that clear. I know the hearing's kind of hard in this room sometimes, so I'll just make sure everybody, I'll say it slowly. No. Okay, very good. Tabling of documents.